There are stories that are told to entertain. There are stories that are told to frighten. And then there are stories that are told because the person who lived them never stopped believing that they were true. I first heard this account from an elderly Somali man named Hassan. By then he was in his 70s. He spoke calmly, without exaggeration, as though he was simply recounting the events of his youth. He never asked anyone to believe him. He simply told his story. Hassan Jama' Ulul was born and raised in Audiio, a town in northeastern Somalia. As a young man, he spent his days, much like other boys his age, playing football, racing his friends, and finding whatever adventures they could to fill their time. Among his peers, Hassan was known as the fastest runner in the area, a reputation he carried with pride. In 1948, at the age of 15, a longing for adventure had begun to stir within him. Wanting a change of scenery, Hassan left Audiio and moved to the coastal town of His, where his uncle lived. Among Somali families, it was common for children and young people to spend parts of their lives living with uncles, aunts, and other close relatives, so the move was a natural one. It was in His that Hassan met a lively group of young men from Berbera, the largest coastal town in northern Somalia. Berbera was known for its ancient trade routes and its bustling port that connected the lands of Arabia to Africa. Curious about their adventures, Hassan asked the young men about their work. They explained that they were seamen sailing vessels that transported livestock across the Gulf of Aden to the Arabian Peninsula. Their stories of the sea, distant lands, and life aboard the ships captivated him. Inspired by their tales, Hassan approached his uncle and expressed his desire to travel to Berbera. Understanding his nephew's adventurous spirit, his uncle advised him to wait until the seasonal dhows arrived in haste so he could travel safely aboard one. Hassan, however, was too impatient to wait. He wanted to begin his journey immediately. After some discussion, his uncle accepted Hassan's decision and took him to a local shop to gather supplies for the journey. They bought clothes and enough provisions to sustain him on the road. Before dawn the following morning, Hassan quietly slipped out of his uncle's house and set off on foot toward Berbera. Confident in his strength and endurance, he believed the journey was well within his abilities. As he continued along the shoreline, he noticed a young woman swimming alone in the sea. Thinking he could spare a short rest before continuing his long journey, he decided to join her in the water. He saw that she had neatly folded her clothes and belongings on the shore. Following her example, he removed his own clothes, placed his belongings beside her, and entered the sea. Feeling playful, Hassan swam near her. Because his hair was long, he began splashing water at her by flicking his wet hair in her direction. He did this several times, but she was not amused. "Stop that," she told him. "Swim on your side of the sea." Ignoring her warning, Hassan continued his teasing. Without appearing to move from where she was, the young woman suddenly seized him and forced him beneath the water. She held him there just long enough for him to struggle before allowing him to surface. Embarrassed and determined not to lose, Hassan tried to retaliate. Once again, without seeming to exert any effort, she pulled him beneath the water and warned him to stop. Only then did Hassan realize he could not defeat her in the sea. Frustrated, he climbed out of the water, dried himself, dressed, and picked up the wooden staff he carried for protection during his journey. He decided he would wait for her on the shore and take revenge for nearly drowning him. When the young woman finally emerged from the sea, her long hair flowing behind her, Hassan swung his staff at her. Before the blow could land, she caught him with ease. In an instant, he found himself lying flat on his back, holding both of his arms firmly with one hand and gripping his throat with the other. She looked down at him. "Are you going to stop now?" she asked. Hassan struggled for a moment before realizing he could not overcome her. Angry and humiliated, he admitted defeat. She released him and he turned away, determined to continue his journey. As he walked, still fuming, he did not even notice when she had dressed herself. The next thing he knew, she was walking beside him, with her arm resting casually across his shoulders. Irritated, Hassan pushed her arm away. Laughing, she said, "What's the matter with you? You're the one who started the trouble." The two continued walking together in silence. After some time, she asked him where he was going. "Berbera," Hassan replied. She smiled. "You won't reach Berbera tonight, tomorrow, or even within the next 10 days. She invited him to come to her home instead, explaining that he looked exhausted and could rest there, eat a proper meal, and continue his journey the following day. Hassan realized she was right. He was tired, hungry, and had no real understanding of how far Berbera actually was. His anger slowly faded. "Where's your home?" he asked. Before he could say anything else, she turned him toward the mountains. Hassan never understood exactly what happened next. In what seemed like a single moment, they were no longer on the foot of the mountain, but standing at its summit, in a town he had never seen before. People began running towards them, shouting excitedly, "She brought a human! She brought a human!" Before anyone could reach Hassan, the young woman stepped protectively in front of him. She spoke rapidly to the crowd in a language that sounded like the calls of birds. Until that moment, she had spoken to Hassan only in Somali. So apart from her extraordinary strength, he hadn't noticed nothing unusual about her. When the crowd fell silent, she turned back to him and spoke once again in Somali. She looked at Hassan and said quietly, "My father told me that I would marry whoever I met today, whether Jinni or Insi." She paused and looked at him. Hassan was completely puzzled. He assumed she was talking about the two clans that lived in the area, and thought Jinni and Insi were simply the names of the different groups. Nothing about her or the people around her suggested otherwise. They looked like ordinary people, mostly men dressed in fine traditional clothing. One of the elders stepped forward and said, "We're going to speak with her father, the Sultan. Until we return, keep him apart from the rest." The men led Hassan into a small enclosed space and asked him to wait there. They left with the young woman, disappearing from sight. Alone, Hassan's mind raced. He considered slipping away before they returned, but the moment he tried to move, the walls of the enclosure seemed to close in around him. An invisible force pressed him downward, making it impossible to stand or escape. His heart began to pound. For the first time, he felt that something was deeply wrong, though he still had no idea what was happening. After what felt like an eternity, the group returned with the young woman. They helped Hassan to his feet and gently guided him into a wide open courtyard. There, seated in a place of honor, were the Sultan and the Council of Elders, waiting silently for him. Hassan greeted the gathering, and they returned his greeting warmly, inviting him to come forward. He removed his shoes, approached the Sultan, and shook his hand. The Sultan smiled, moved a few cushions aside, and made space for Hassan to sit beside him. A servant brought him a cup of black tea, followed by another cup containing tea mixed with milk. Still thirsty from his long journey, Hassan asked for water instead. The Sultan explained, "You have walked a great distance and your body is exhausted. Drinking plain water immediately may not be good for you. Drink this first. It's mixed with milk to restore your strength and quench your thirst." Hassan drank as instructed. Gradually, his thirst faded, and he felt calm enough to focus on the conversation. The Sultan looked at him and asked, "Do you know the young woman you were with today?" "Yes," Hassan replied. "What did she tell you?" Hassan answered honestly. "She told me to come with her, rest for a while, eat, and then continue my journey afterward." The Sultan then called Amina into the room. She had been standing quietly by the doorway, listening. When she stepped forward, the Sultan asked if Hassan's account was true. She nodded and said, "If I had told him the real reason, he would never have come with me. That's why I asked him to come and rest first." The Sultan turned back to Hassan. "Amina has chosen you," he said calmly. "She wishes to marry you. Do you wish to marry her?" Hassan's heart began to race. He remembered how he had tried to escape earlier, only to find himself held in place by an unseen force. Realizing he had little choice, he answered carefully, "Yes, I would marry her. But first I must return home and bring a proper dowry for her." The Sultan laughed gently. "We are not people who seek wealth," he said. "Allah has already blessed us with more than enough. We have no need for your dowry." He paused before asking again, "We ask only one thing. Do you truly wish to marry Amina?" Hassan looked at Amina, then back at the Sultan. "Yes," he replied quietly. "I will marry her." Once Hassan agreed, a sheikh was called and the marriage ceremony was conducted. The marriage contract was completed and they married. After the ceremony, Hassan was taken to the bridal quarters. Servants dressed him in beautiful garments, unlike anything I'd ever seen. The fabric was soft and richly embroidered, and every piece seemed finer than anything he had known in the human world. Outside, the sounds of celebration filled the mountain town. Music echoed through the halls as people laughed, sang, and congratulated the newlyweds. A short while later, Amina entered the room, escorted by 2 bridesmaids. She wore a flowing silk gown, adorned with intricate gold embroidery, and was covered in dazzling gold jewelry that shimmered in the light. Hassan had never seen anyone so beautifully dressed. The couple sat together, while the bridesmaids continued bringing trays of food, fruit, sweets, and drinks. After some time, the servants quietly withdrew, leaving the newlyweds alone. Amina gently took Hassan by the hand and led him into their private chamber. She helped him remove his ceremonial clothes before changing into her own night garments. A light silk sheet covered them as they sat together. She smiled at him and said, "We're husband and wife now." Then she began to explain the life that awaited him if he chose to remain with her. "When you reach the age of 25, she said, my family will give you 3 gifts. The first is a hat that will make you invisible whenever you wear it. The second is a ring that will allow you to travel anywhere in the world simply by rubbing it. The third is knowledge, the ability to recognize every plant upon the earth and understand its purpose and its healing." Hassan was only 15 years old. Everything she described sounded like something from a dream. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. Yet he listened with wonder and agreed to whatever she asked him. That night, they consummated their marriage. The following morning, Amina woke up before sunrise. "Wash and get dressed," she said. Hassan did as he was told. When he returned, breakfast had been prepared and placed beneath the shade beside their home, overlooking the mountains. Exhausted from the previous day's events, he sat down to eat, but soon drifted into a deep sleep before touching his food. When he finally awoke, the sun was already high in the sky. It was well past noon. As he slowly opened his eyes, he saw a strange creature leaning over to him, trying to wake him. From the waist up, it appeared like a woman, but below the waist, its legs resembled those of a large lizard or serpent. Startled and believing it was some dangerous creature, Hassan quickly picked up a small stone and threw it. The stone struck the figure, which cried out and hurried away. Within moments, people came rushing from every direction. "What have you done?" they shouted. "You've struck your mother-in-law." Hassan froze in disbelief. Only then did he realize that what he had seen was not an ordinary creature, but Amina's mother in her true form. Before anyone could punish him, Sultan intervened. "He didn't know that," he said. "He thought it was an animal. He meant no harm." The Sultan silenced the angry voices around him. "Leave him," he commanded. "Some among you are jealous because he married my daughter. He acted out of fear, not disrespect. The crowd gradually dispersed, and Hassan was forgiven. But from that day onward, he realized that he was living among beings whose true nature was very different from what his eyes first perceived. It was only then that Hassan truly understood what Amina had meant when she spoke of Jinn and Insi. Until that moment, he had believed they were simply the names of different clans. Now he realized he was living among the Jinn. Seeing the confusion on his face, the Sultan explained further, "We are able to take the form of almost any creature we desire," he said. "There are only 4 creatures whose forms we never assume: dogs, pigs, and 2 particular kinds of snakes." The revelation unsettled Hassan. Respectfully, he turned to the Sultan and said, "If that's the case, I ask only one thing. Please tell your people not to appear before me in those forms. If I mistake them for wild animals, I may try to defend myself." The Sultan understood. "You have spoken fairly," he replied. He instructed everyone in his community to avoid changing into animals near Hassan so that they would not frighten him unnecessarily. Curious, Hassan then asked the Sultan, "In what form do you take?" The Sultan smiled. "I become a lion." As the weeks passed, Hassan gradually became accustomed to the life among the Jinn. His fears faded, and he came to know the customs. Before long, Amina became heavily pregnant, and as the time for her delivery drew near, Hassan began to miss his own family. One evening, he told Amina, "I would like to visit my parents." She informed her father, and the Sultan sent for Hassan. "I hear you wish to see your family," the Sultan said. "Yes," Hassan replied. "It's been a long time since I have left them." The Sultan agreed. He presented Hassan with finely woven garments, unlike any found among humans, and gave him a large sum of money together with valuable gifts for his father and mother. Then he spoke seriously. "When your father asks you where you have been and where this wealth came from, tell him that you worked at the port of Berbera, loading and unloading ships, and that you saved your earnings. No matter how many times you are questioned, do not change your story." Hassan nodded. The following morning, he prepared for his journey. As he stood ready to leave, he noticed that something was fastened around his feet. Before he could even ask what was happening, the world around him vanished. In an instant, he found himself standing just outside his hometown of Eregabo, only a short walk from his family's home. As his brothers and sisters were the first to see him, they ran towards him with excitement, embracing him and telling him that their father had sent word throughout the region searching for him. Soon his mother arrived, overcome with relief, and later his father returned home. Hassan presented them with the gifts and the money the Sultan had given him. His father looked at the wealth in astonishment. "Where did all of this come from?" he asked. Remembering the Sultan's warning, Hassan replied, "I worked at the docks in Berbera, loading and unloading ships. I've saved everything I earned." His father listened, but remained unconvinced. No ordinary dock worker, he thought, could earn such wealth in so short of a time. As a respected Nabadon, a traditional peacemaker and elder, Hassan's father was a cautious man. "We will not spend this money," he said, "not until I'm certain where it truly came from." Although his father was suspicious, he welcomed Hassan home with love. Hassan remained with his family for some time. During his stay, he accompanied his father to several peace meetings between neighboring communities. At one occasion, they were called to settle a dispute in a town several days' journey away. Early that morning, they saddled their horses and prepared to depart. Suddenly, before either of them had mounted, the landscape around them blurred. In the blink of an eye, they found themselves standing in their destination. His father looked around in disbelief. Only moments earlier they had been at home. Now they stood in the meeting place, many days' ride away. He could not explain what had happened, but he asked no questions. After spending some time with his family, Hassan decided it was time to return to Amina and their unborn child. He said his farewells, embraced his parents and siblings, and prepared to leave. Once again, before he knew what was happening, the unseen power of the Jinn carried him across land. An instant later, he was back in the mountain kingdom, reunited with Amina and the family that had become his own. When Hassan returned to the mountain kingdom, he searched everywhere for Amina, but could not find her. After asking around, he was directed to one of the private quarters where she was resting. They greeted each other. Hassan asked, "Have you given birth?" Amina smiled. "Yes," she replied. "I have given birth to 7 children." She removed the covering and showed him the children. But Hassan was in disbelief and jumped back. "I cannot see them," he said. To him, the cradle appeared completely empty. Seeing his confusion, Amina sent for her father. When the Sultan arrived, he understood immediately what had happened. "On the night your marriage was consummated," he explained, "there was a misunderstanding. Because of that, the veil between the worlds remained over your eyes. Your children belong to both the world of the Jinn and the world of mankind. But for now, you cannot see them." The Sultan raised his hands and recited some words Hassan couldn't understand. Almost instantly, the unseen veil was lifted. Where moments before the cradle had appeared empty, Hassan now saw 7 beautiful infants sleeping peacefully. The Sultan then made a promise: "If you remain with Amina until you reach the age of 60, your children will become fully human, and the veil between your worlds will no longer separate you." Hassan accepted the Sultan's words and continued living happily among the Jinn. Around 9 months later, Amina gave birth again. This time she delivered another 7 children. Altogether, Hassan and Amina were blessed with 14 children, 8 sons and 6 daughters. Sometime later, Hassan expressed a desire to travel to Aden in Yemen. The Sultan agreed and once again provided everything he would need for the journey. He gave Hassan a finely made suitcase filled with clothing, supplies, and a generous amount of money. He also entrusted him with money to deliver to his uncle, who lived in the coastal town of His. The Sultan instructed him, "Travel first to His and deliver this money to your uncle. From there, board a boat sailing to Aden. When you arrive at the port of Aden, carry a suitcase by its handle. As you walk through the harbor, do exactly as I have instructed." The next morning, Hassan set out. As before, the Jinn prepared him for the journey. In what seemed like a blink of an eye, he found himself standing in haste. After visiting his uncle and delivering the gifts and money, he boarded a boat bound for Aden. The journey should have taken many hours across the Gulf of Aden. Instead, almost as soon as the sails caught the wind, the boat reached the port of Aden. The captain and passengers looked at one another in astonishment. None of them could explain how they had crossed the sea in such an impossible short time. Hassan remained silent, knowing that the unseen hand of the Jinn had once again carried him safely to his destination. Hassan arrived in Aden, Yemen, with more wealth than he had ever imagined. Free from responsibility and still a young man in his 20s, he embraced the city's lively atmosphere. At that time, Aden was one of the great ports of the region. Merchants, sailors, poets, musicians, and artists from many lands gathered there. Its cafes and meeting places were alive every evening with music, poetry, storytelling, and just general celebration. With plenty of money at his disposal, Hassan settled into the city. Days turned into months, and months turned into years. He spent his time enjoying the company of friends, attending poetry gatherings, listening to musicians, and experiencing the famous nightlife of Aden. Before he realized it, 5 years had passed. One warm evening, after spending time with friends at one of the city's gathering places, Hassan stepped outside to enjoy the cool sea breeze and smoke quietly by himself. As he stood beneath the evening sky, he noticed a familiar figure standing a short distance away. It was Amina. She stood silently watching him. For a moment, Hassan wondered if he was dreaming. He walked towards her, and they exchanged greetings, as though they had only seen each other the other day. He asked about their family. "How are the children?" he said. Amina smiled gently. "They're all well," she replied. "I have come because one of our daughters is getting married. Your presence is required as her father." Hassan stared at her in complete disbelief. "Our daughter?" he asked. "Which daughter?" "The eldest," Amina answered. His face filled with confusion. "How can that be?" he said. "She was only born a few years ago." To Hassan, it had been only 6 years since the birth of their first children. The thought of one of them was old enough to marry made no sense at all. Unable to understand, fear and suspicion overcame him. "What kind of people are you?" he demanded. "What strange practice are these?" The moment those words left his mouth, Amina's expression changed. Without another word, she stepped back. In an instant, she vanished into the night. The cool breeze from the sea was the only thing that remained. For several days afterward, he could not stop thinking about what happened. He questioned whether he had imagined the encounter, or whether Amina had truly come to see him. Eventually, life in Aden resumed its normal rhythm, and although the memory never left, he slowly put it aside. It will be until around 1964 in Hargeisa, in northern Somalia, that fate would bring them together once more. Years passed, and Hassan remained in the human world. One evening, after years of spending his wealth on parties, poetry gatherings, and the nightlife of Aden, he found himself with almost nothing left. His fortunes had changed completely. With only 30 shillings remaining in his pocket, and the celebration of Eid only days away, Hassan wandered the dark streets, wondering how he would buy food, new clothes. As he walked alone that night, a sudden gust of wind swept through the narrow street. When he looked up, Amina was standing before him. Without a word first, she dropped a wrapped bundle at his feet. "Take this money," she said softly. Hassan tried to speak. He wanted to say something. It felt as though his throat had tightened shut. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't utter a single sound. Before he could recover, Amina vanished as suddenly as she had appeared. The only evidence that she had been there was the bundle lying on the ground. Hassan slowly unwrapped it. Inside was more than 5,000 shillings. He stood speechless. The money allowed him to settle every debt he owed. He bought new clothes for Eid he needed, purchased everything he needed, and even shared some of the money with his friends. Yet, despite his restored fortune, his thoughts never left Amina. He resumed writing poetry, and many of his verses became expressions of longing for the mysterious wife he could never forget. Years continued to pass. Then in 1975, while walking through the streets of Mogadishu during another difficult period in his life, Hassan experienced the impossible once again. Familiar wind began to blow. Amina appeared before him, exactly as she had appeared in Hargeisa. Before Hassan could say a single word, or without speaking, she placed another sack of money at his feet. She disappeared into the night. It was their final meeting. Although he never saw her again, he never stopped writing about her. Many of his poems spoke of an unreachable beauty, of love separated by two worlds, and of a woman whose memory refused to fade. Hassan never saw Amina or their children again. He went on to marry 3 human women, had children, grandchildren, and lived a long life, but he never forgot his Jinn wife. Even in his late 70s, when he finally shared his story publicly, he admitted he often thought about going back to the mountains where they first met. He wanted to search for her, but he never did. He always said he was too afraid to return to her community, not knowing how they would receive a man who had left them behind. Whether you believe Hassan's story or see it as a Somali folklore, one thing is certain: he never stopped thinking about Amina.